Hello, I'm Terry David Mulligan, and this is Mulligan Stew, the podcast, music, film, food, and wine. And speaking of film, next week we'll be talking with Nick Vallelonga, who is the oldest son of Tony Lip, the lead character in the film Green Book. His father is played by Viggo Mortensen. The movie was 50 years in the making, and they're making a run for the Golden Globes, the Broadcast Film Critics Association Awards, and the Oscars. Looking forward to that. Today, Andy Shauf. Before Andy Shauf was Andy Shauf, solo artist, he and brothers Daryl and Avery Kissick, as well as his friend Dallas Bryson, were a band called Foxwarren, named after a Manitoba town that the Kissick brothers came from. It took a decade for this album called Foxwarren to come out. And if you're an Andy Shauf fan, you are going to like Foxwarren. There's some great songs in here. And strangely enough, for a guy who's a control freak, Andy's done a great job of collaborating with the other three guys in the band. Or maybe they just threatened to punch him out if he didn't give him room. Here's the whole story. Andy Shauf on Mulligan Stew, the podcast. Have you been asked to score films? You're perfect for scoring films. Have you done any of that?
I haven't. I've been asked. Seems like I'm not really sure if I would know how to do that. But
well,
it'd be cool.
If you get a chance, if you run across Dan Mangan, ask him.
Yeah.
Because he was...
because he did the...
Yeah, he did. That one film that he did has now led to other projects. And but the interesting thing is that some of what he had to write, because you write out of your element to a certain extent, showed up with even better songs. Elements of songs that didn't get used that he's reworked into tunes for his new album, and it's really good. Yeah. It's a great exercise if you get a chance. That's all.
Yeah,
just takes a lot of time. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
I have found Andy Shauf. I believe, Andy, I've found you in Seattle.
Yeah,
at the end
pretty close.
At the end of a short tour as you, the solo artist.
And without a band, too, so really solo. And
what happens to those tunes? You're okay with that, right? Do you miss the harmonies? Do you miss the counter melodies?
I mean, I like doing the solo shows because it's, you kind of figure out which songs can actually stand on their own without those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I once I stood on the stage at the Commodore Ballroom and asked Randy Newman, I said, why is it just a grand piano and no strings, no trio, no nothing in behind you? Why is it just you and a piano? And he said, I don't want anything to get between me and the audience.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure there's more to it than that. There's costs, just to recreate his music would be expensive, but I kind of like that. There's a spark between the audience and himself, and it was just a piano that carried it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an element there as well.
Yeah, you definitely, you feel that just being on stage, even with a band, it kind of changes the relationship between you and the audience, because when you're with the band, you're kind of representing like 4 or 5 people. When you're by yourself, it's just it's like a one-on-one, on however many.
Yeah. But what if the guys you're on stage with, the people you're on stage with, have been friends a long time, like say 10 years.
Yeah, that can make it different.
As in the case of Foxwarren, which I really like a lot. By the way, here's your first trivia question. Foxwarren is a municipality in Manitoba, right?
Yeah. Village, maybe?
Village. Let's call it a village. Can you name 3 hockey players that came from Foxwarren?
Pat Falloon.
Anybody else?
Yeah, that's the only one I got.
Okay, well, that's good. I unless I looked it up, I would never have known. So there you go. Now, and you have to straighten something out for me. I know that that Foxwarren is that village, and that's where the Kissick boys are from. But I also see cross references saying that they're now based in Regina. Where's everybody based for Foxwarren?
Daryl and Avery are both living in Regina. Dallas lives in Grandview, Manitoba.
Okay.
And I'm in Toronto now.
And how tough is it to get everybody together?
It is pretty well impossible. Yeah, I think, we just did a little show in Toronto So that's the last time. But the time before that was, I think, Daryl's wedding, which was a couple of years ago.
I'm fascinated, first of all, by the music being made in Manitoba these days, and I'm waiting for Regina to show that same sort of a creative juice, because right now, Winnipeg in particular is just got my full and complete attention as to all of the artists there.
Yeah.
So what's the oldest song off the album?
What's it called? Small Town? Your Small Town?
Your Small Town. And how old is that?
That song is probably about 10 years old. We recorded that one for our first album initially. It was like a rock song. It had this big, crazy drum part, and yeah. And then when we got together at one point to take some photos or something, and we started playing that song in a little bit more of a relaxed kind of way, and we all decided that it felt pretty good, and yeah, so we put it on the new album.
Gold when you were gone. Here I'll hold you still. Go on if you're not done. I'll pour us another one. Lead me to your helping hand. If you're gonna leave, then leave me be. If you're gonna leave, then leave me be. I am your small town, breathing down your neck, reaching for a helping hand. If you're gonna leave, then leave me be. If you're gonna leave, then leave me be. If you're gonna leave, then leave me be. If you're gonna leave, then leave me be.
Here's the thing about this, Andy. There are we all know groups, artists who over the course of 10 years arc into a completely different version of themselves or make adjustments along the way, some necessary, some not. Bands fall apart, they get back together again. You guys started Foxwarren 10 years ago, and you shelved this music or some of this music, and the whole idea behind Foxwarren for you when your solo career started to show itself. And so some of these tunes have been hanging around quite a while to be heard. It's astonishing how great they sound. They're not dated to any. I couldn't say, wow, that's something from the 60s. It's quite remarkable that these songs are as strong as they are.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. To me, they sound dated, but that's only because I've heard them for 4
yes.
years.
We hear them with different
know.
ears, Andy.
Definitely.
I want to play a To Be, and I went looking for a lyric sheet, and I couldn't find it in there. Are there a couple of F-bombs in there?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Then my ears were hearing things. Tell me about To Be. Love that song.
I mean, a lot of these songs kind of, Foxwarren has this, we have this sort of problem where we always write the songs instrumentally first, because we never finish lyrics on time or at the right time.
Okay.
So To Be was kind of this really kind of a long instrumental song based around like this weird moving guitar part. And then I think there was a point where we decided, you know what, we actually need to make these weird acoustic prog songs into real songs. And so it changed quite a bit into more of a something that repeats on itself, you know, just like a standard pop song. We wrote all the lyrics for this song together, kind of like passing around a piece of paper between the four of us.
So now I realize how goofy my last question was, and that is that what you've done is you've reconstructed the songs, the ones that you liked. You just sort of took them down to the frame and rebuilt?
Yeah, pretty much all of them, actually. It was kind of we worked on these songs for a really long time before we actually came up with these final versions that have cohesive melodies. And
okay.
Yeah.
Can I play To Be? I think I will, okay?
Yeah.
Kick it around, find another damn town to get a head full of ideas. Give it time, leave the water, find the wine. Give me a hand on the wheel. To be alone. Smooth talk or sales another good line with a mouth full of steam. Takes his time, never looks you in the eyes. Got a head full of ideas. To be alone. To be
That's Andy Shauf and Foxwarren. Actually, the group is Foxwarren, but Andy's on the phone. Some of the music is as old as 10 years, which is ancient in music terms. And so I'm looking at this in reference to your solo career. This may be the best question or absolutely the worst question that I'm going to ask you here. Do you think Foxwarren is your Astral Weeks?
In a sense, I guess it could be. It's an album where things happen, and I'm not doing my usual control freak kind of thing on it. But there are still moments where I was a bit control freak.
Well, how do you like?
I don't think I can totally shake that.
Okay, how do you like the democracy of a 4-piece?
It has its challenges. It's really nice because I've been playing with Daryl and Avery in Dallas for like a really long time, so it's a thing where we all respect each other's ideas and we listen to each other, and I think writing music with other people, will always be frustrations and compromises, but you come up with something a little different than you would come up with on your own.
Exactly. You never kind of know where it's going to lead. There might be surprises there.
Yeah, and you have to realize that other people have good ideas too.
And have they embraced your control freakiness?
Yeah, I think so. We're kind of slow movers, so sometimes I have to really force people to get their ideas down quick.
Do you think
I think they're okay with that.
Do you think the Andy Shauf solo audience will like these tunes? I guess you're finding out, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I think they're pretty good. So.
They're very good. Hey, by the way, they're very good tunes. I'm quite surprised that you sat on them for 10 years because there's some really strong stuff here. For example, I'll Be All Right. I'm not so much interested in the lyric part of that because that would take longer than we have, but the tune is very strong. How did that come about?
That is another one that was a really proggy acoustic little riff that we couldn't figure out what to do with. And I think there was one late night where me and Avery and I, we were drinking some whiskey and playing the guitar, and we kind of just turned it into a little folk ditty. Mm-hmm. And I think we maybe did the lyrics together that night. Yeah. It's a really simple song.
When we talk about prog type thing, are you thinking like Yes?
I don't even. Calling it prog is probably the wrong word.
Well,
it's these complicated things that never resolved themselves.
There you go.
They were really, really frustrating to play.
I know.
Yeah.
Morning light shine down upon shoulder blades, my mistakes. Oh, I don't know just what to do to be in love with anyone but you. Break it fast, don't turn. Leave me on my side. I'll be alright. Parts, the breathing wind, unbroken hearts, and maybe
One other, Fall Into a Dream. I love that. Turned it up immediately. Walked around the room. It made me want to think. Is that the new? What's the newest? What's the last thing written here? What's the freshest?
I think it was Fall Into a Dream. Yeah, I think it was that one because that song was that chorus. The chorus in that song has been used in 3 different versions of that song. They had 3 different verse versions, and it just never felt right. And then we somehow we came up with that one. A last-minute addition.
Forgive me for not knowing this, Andy, but tell me about you and your appearance at Massey Hall. What tune did you do?
Sorry?
What tune did you do live at Massey Hall?
The one on the album, I think, is The Magician.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, and was that you and Foxwarren or just you?
That was me and my band.
Right.
Actually, we had 3 clarinets for that show and 3 string players, 3 violins. Yeah, that was a fun show.
Cool. Now, the plans are, as I understand, Andy, is to release this. There'll be no tour behind it because you're going off to be Andy Shauf, right?
Yeah. I don't know. We might try and get together and play some shows in the summer or something like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
fun. I'd love to hear these tunes live. This would be quite remarkable to hear live. I'm a big fan of the album. I'm taken with it. I'm taken with the fact that it's 10 years in the making, and how most songs just get discarded or they get pulled apart and used somewhere else. I'm quite overjoyed that those songs have survived and they're as good as they are.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So when are you coming into Western Canada? When will we see you north of the border?
Fall of 2019, I'll probably get back on the road.
Do you know what 2019 is going to look like?
It's going to be a busy one. I think I'm going to be finishing up a solo record in January, and then it'll all start over again.
Oh, yes, it will.
Yeah.
That'll be out for summer.
Maybe. Probably not.
Do you have a
I don't know.
Do you have a working title?
No. Well, no, I don't.
You can tell me. Nobody's listening.
Well, most of the album is about this bar down the road from my house called the Skyline, so I'm kind of working around that.
And how close are you to finishing?
Well, some days I think it's almost done, and some days I think I need to start on a new album.
You're your own worst enemy. Well,
yeah.
But if you're going to have a 2019, you might want to have that album come out at some point.
Yeah.
And are any of those tunes showing up in the sets now?
Yeah, I've been playing probably five of them on this tour, I think. It's kind of doing trying to workshop them a little bit, see what's working, see what's not working.
Okay. The next time you're hanging around with Foxwarren, whenever that happens, I want you to ask them, name me 3 NHL players that come from Foxwarren. And let's see.
They would know.
Would they know?
I think Daryl would know for sure.
Ron Lowe, Mark Wooten, and Pat Falloon. There's your.
That's a high number for such a small. I think it's a really tiny town too.
All right. One more. Maybe 2 more questions. I'll let you go. One is: are you going to show up in any other projects? Anybody else using your tunes? Are you co-writing with anybody? Any of that stuff?
We'll see. Maybe I'll be in another band or something. It's always nice to play with other people.
And the last question is: where's the Andy Shauf Christmas song?
Oof, that will. Actually, I did write a Christmas song once, but it will never see the light of day.
It's the toughest song you can possibly write.
Yeah.
All right. But if I'm doing my Christmas show shortly, the 15th and the 22nd. Is there one song that you've written that captures what happens over the holidays, what happens at the end of December to all of us in one form or another?
Wendell Walker's a song about winter making someone go crazy. So
I'll play it for them. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Foxwarren on Anti Records with Andy Shauf as the lead vocalist and songwriter. Thank you for listening. I'm Jerry David Mulligan. This is Mulligan's 2, the podcast.
Cheer up, baby. Everybody knows you're crying. Everybody knows you're trying. Everybody knows I'm lost in